Did Wizards of the Coast give us the go-ahead to normalize proxies? God, I hope not. Well, what is up, everyone? Welcome back to Kitchen Table TCG. My name is Louie. I hope you're having yourself a fantastic day. Today, I want to talk about the things that are going on in the community about normalizing proxies, with Wizards coming out with their 30th anniversary scam. Oh, it's not really a scam. It's just a terrible product. It's terribly expensive. We've already talked about with Wizards coming out with this proxy product and selling it to you for $1,000. A lot of the YouTube community, a lot of the Reddit community has come to the idea that we should, as a result of Wizards initiating it, we should normalize proxies, and proxies should just be a thing that you accept at the kitchen table. It should just be a thing that's okay to do, and everybody should just be okay with it. And I want to bring up some of the consequences of that idea. I actually had a very similar thought when I was watching those videos, when I was seeing those posts. I was like, yeah, we should stick it to the man. Yeah, screw you, Wizards. Yeah, we're gonna print off all of our cards. I'm gonna get rid of, I have 15 commander decks. I'm gonna send it to this website. There's literally a website you can send your list to. They print proxies, it shows up at your door. I'm gonna send it to this website. I'm done, this is ridiculous. But then I had this thought. And this thought of, man, if you undermine the economy of the game like that, who does it really affect? Who else is it really going to affect if you do so? And so I wanted to come out with a video just to share my thoughts on it. I'm very interested to hear the counterpoints and your thoughts on this in the comment section below. But in my world, I never was okay with proxies at the kitchen table. If somebody wanted to proxy some cards that they had already purchased on TCG Player and they were just waiting to come in, I was cool with that. If they wanted to try something out in a deck, I was cool with that. But if you are coming to the table and saying that, hey, this is a completed deck, this is my new deck that I am playing with, I kind of expect that those cards would be authentic Magic the Gathering cards. Now, I think that this is important to understand. At the kitchen table, we don't play with like Black Lotuses and super expensive cards. I mean, sometimes we have dual lands in our decks, but like it's not like we are playing with Power 9 and we're not playing super competitive. It's a more casual environment. And if somebody wanted to test out a Power 9 card in their deck just for fun, I think we'd be okay with proxies. I'm talking about the idea of normalizing proxies to the point where you're proxying the 10-cent card all the way up to the $500 card, all the way through to a Black Lotus and whatever you want to put in your deck. And that is the proxy normalization that I am talking about, because I believe that it is a slippery slope. Once you start saying, okay, proxies are fine, why would I ever buy a booster pack? Why would I ever buy anything on TCG Player? Why would I ever buy a box of a new set from my LGS when I can order the proxies and they'll get here to me before release day? I can play with those cards as soon as a card's spoiled. I can order it online, I can get it before release day. So when you normalize proxies, you open up a lot of these unintended consequences. Number one, people having access to cards before anybody else is supposed to. And so you show up at a table, you've normalized proxies in the Magic the Gathering community, you invite a new friend over to play, they've normalized their deck is half proxies, half not proxies, they've got cards from Brothers War in their deck, but like, hey, it's okay, we're all hanging out. You see, when you start playing Commander, you start with Rule 0. Rule 0 is sitting down and saying, hey, what power level are we gonna play at? But I think actually we all start with Rule -1, which is that we play with cards that we open from booster packs or we bought on TCG Player or that are real Magic cards. Once you undermine the community, once you undermine the economy of a game, there are unintended consequences. I think you're gonna see people showing up with cards that aren't released yet. You're gonna see people showing up with cards that don't even exist, that they've just made, and well, it's just fun, we're just proxying, it's just the kitchen table, it's not real Magic. You're gonna see another unintended consequence of normalization at the kitchen table is that this is going to bleed over. I don't understand why people think that this won't bleed over into organized play. I know it's not legal, but nobody's checking decks at LGSs. I would be very, very, very surprised if you told me that 5% of LGSs pull up everyone's decks, look at them, take out the double, cards are double sleeved, they're using a jeweler's loop to take a look at the card. I would be very, very surprised if stores are looking for proxies in their store. Now, somebody comes in and they're like bragging about my proxy deck. That's a much different thing. They probably get the warning, they probably get told they can't play, whatever happens. But once you normalize proxies, nobody knows, nobody understands. Everyone's got fake cards. You're gonna have people trading them in. You have store employees who aren't trained right. Instead of having like one card every 6 months that's a proxy walk through your store, you're gonna have every other card is gonna be a proxy. Normalizing proxies in a big way is going to have dire consequences on the entire economy of this game. And I understand. I wanna make sure that this is very clear. I understand that it's Wizards' fault that we are having this conversation. If Wizards didn't come out with the atrocious $1,000 product, if they didn't come out with that product, we would not be having this conversation about normalizing proxies. That would not be a dialogue in the community. We are so frustrated that we have lost sight of the consequences to not just Wizards of the Coast, but to you as a player who spent over the course of their Magic the Gathering career $5,000 on cards, and you have your collection, and now Joe Schmo shows up, he spends $50 to have his entire commander deck proxied and did zero work to collect and did zero work to, you were working your butt off at your job to make the money to save up for that card, and he just bought it for 50 cents on a proxy. I'm not I understand that I'm coming off a little bit elitist, a little bit that money is important. That's not my intention. I think that this undermines the economy in a way that will kill LGSs. You want to kill LGSs fast? You want to do something that will kill LGSs faster than anything Wizards of the Coast could do? Normalize proxies to a point where people aren't buying commander staples. You know what my store sells more of than anything? Singles on TCG Player, commander staples on TCG Player. We get them into the store all the time, we sell them all the time. It is one of the baselines of our economy. The baseline of our economy is that Wizards prints a new box and everybody buys a box. Most people can't afford a booster box. The baseline of my economy at my store is singles. It's 100% single, not 100%, it's probably 80% of our revenue comes from singles. We do buying, we do selling, we do trading. And if you undermine the economy of this game by saying, hey, everyone should just proxy their cards, it's all okay, Wizards said we should do it, you're going to affect the local game store in a big, big way. Listen, I'm all for sticking it to the man. Wizards deserves all the criticism that they are getting. I'm all for sticking it to the man. I'm all for dumping the tea over the board. I'm all for not paying those taxes. This is a metaphor, I pay my taxes. I'm all for sticking it to the man, but there's a difference between that and just pure anarchy. Pure anarchy of normalizing proxies. Don't worry about showing up to the new table with your a new commander group. You've printed off your whole deck. There's a difference between sticking it to the man and anarchy affects everybody. Anarchy affects all the community. It affects you, it affects me, it affects big stores, it affects small stores. So I think a better thought here of how do you stick it to the man by saying, okay, Wizards is okay with proxies, how can we get there? It is understanding things like a cube. I think a proxy cube is probably okay, where you have a set of whatever it is, 500 cards that are all marked as not legal or as proxies. The back of it is marked with a proxy. And you can sit in a cube and play a vintage, Power 9 cube. Nobody in your playgroup would ever have been able to afford a Black Lotus. No one ever is gonna put a Black Lotus in their commander deck to play with non-commander things. It doesn't really affect the overall market. And you've got something that you can play with in a vacuum that's not showing up to other locations or showing up to a kitchen table with decks that you've constructed in that way. Does that make sense? I think something like that would be okay. Frankly, that's what they should have sold us. Can you imagine if that $1,000, if it was $100 vintage cube or $250 vintage cube or legacy cube or whatever cube we wanted to do that celebrated Magic the Gathering's 30th anniversary with like a cube product that you could buy and you could draft with friends and it was all fake cards or whatever? That would have been a huge success for Magic's 30th anniversary. So anyway, I'm very curious to hear your thoughts in the comment section about this. I know this is kind of a borderline risky topic for me to talk about because I know there's a lot of frustration. I was in the same boat. I literally thought, I mean, I have 15, 20 commander decks. I literally thought to myself, well, if we're all doing this, if we're all gonna do it, I'm just gonna sell my cards right now while they're still in market, take the deck list, paste it on this website, $300-400, all the cards will show up at my house. I've got all my decks still. I literally had that thought, but then I thought to myself, man, what are the consequences to that beyond me? What are the consequences to that beyond the small community, and how does that affect if on a large scale we've really normalized proxy cards? So very curious to hear your thoughts. Let me know them in the comment section below. Remember to be kind to the people around you. Even if somebody has a different opinion than you and you show up and they've got proxies at your commander table, you don't have to be angry at them, you don't have to be mad at them, you don't have to kick them out. You can just be like, hey man, are we really doing this? What do you think that's gonna affect the market? If they're proxying power 9 cards into their commander deck, maybe like, hey, the power level of this is a little different. So hey, be kind to the people around you. We'll see you again next video. And on Saturday, we are celebrating Magic's 30th anniversary, we're just doing our live stream that we do normally at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hopefully you're joining us there. Have yourself a fantastic day. Be kind to the people around you. We'll see you again next video. Thank you.